Golden Age stars with the worst dental implants. You won't believe what some of Hollywood's most glamorous legends were hiding behind those million-dollar smiles. In the glitzy world of old Hollywood, where perfection was the price of fame, many iconic stars went under the drill for dental implants, veneers, caps, and even full dentures. But not all of these procedures aged like fine wine. From crooked caps to ill-fitting dentures and bizarre porcelain veneers, these vintage celebrities had some truly shocking dental transformations. Join us as we expose the worst celebrity teeth makeovers in classic Hollywood history, revealing the hidden truth behind those sparkling smiles of the silver screen. Whether it was for beauty, stardom, or studio pressure, these legendary actors and actresses prove that not every Hollywood smile is natural or even good. Clark Gable. They called him the King of Hollywood, but behind that iconic smile was a royal secret, one that even his most devoted fans may never have guessed. Clark Gable, the dashing Rhett Butler of Gone with the Wind, allegedly had a full set of dentures by his early 30s. According to Hollywood insiders and old studio rumors, years of dental neglect combined with gum disease forced Gable to undergo extensive dental work, including extractions that left him relying on false teeth for much of his career. But it wasn't just about health. In classic Hollywood, looks were everything. MGM needed Gable to look like the ultimate leading man, and a picture-perfect smile was non-negotiable. So his dentures were crafted to maintain that signature Gable grin, straight, masculine, and camera-ready. Yet, not everything about the transformation went smoothly. Co-stars allegedly complained about Gable's bad breath, a rumored side effect of his dental condition, with some even saying it made kissing scenes difficult to film. Despite this, Gable's confidence never wavered. He delivered lines with that gravelly voice and cocky charm that defined an era, all while keeping his dental situation a closely guarded secret. It's a testament to his talent and to the power of Hollywood illusion that millions swooned without ever knowing what lay beneath the surface. In an age before digital editing and flawless filters, Clark Gable's smile was as carefully engineered as any modern movie effect, a polished mask for the rugged, imperfect man beneath it. And still, he remains the gold standard of masculine allure, dental drama, and all. Joan Crawford, the queen of reinvention, the face that launched 1,000 headlines, and the definition of classic Hollywood ambition. But behind that striking, wide-lipped smile was a carefully curated illusion, and her teeth were a major part of the transformation. When Crawford first entered the industry, she wasn't the glamorous icon we remember. She was Lucille Fay Lesueur, a chorus girl with average looks and a smile that didn't quite match Hollywood's harsh beauty standards. Studio executives took one look and allegedly decided that a makeover was non-negotiable. Crawford underwent extensive dental work, including whitening, reshaping, and porcelain caps to create a more symmetrical, radiant smile. Her trademark look, those sharply arched eyebrows and that commanding, all-knowing grin, was as manufactured as it was magnetic. Insiders say she was obsessed with maintaining the image, going so far as to reportedly redo her dental work multiple times to stay ahead of the aging curve. But while her new teeth helped elevate her to leading lady status, not everyone was convinced. Some biographers and Hollywood historians have claimed that her caps gave her an almost artificial look later in life, too perfect, too rigid, a symbol of the pressure she faced to never let the facade crack. Still, the image stuck. Joan Crawford didn't just smile, she commanded attention. In a town built on image, Joan knew the power of a perfect grin. Whether on the silver screen or in front of a swarm of flashbulbs, her smile told a story, not just of beauty, but of fierce determination and survival. Dental work or not, Crawford didn't just play stars, she became one. Marilyn Monroe. She was the ultimate screen siren, a breathy voice, a platinum wave of hair, and a smile that could stop traffic. But Marilyn Monroe's rise to stardom wasn't all natural glamour. Behind that famous pout and those soft, flirtatious grins was a carefully constructed image, one that, according to Hollywood lore, included early dental work that helped shape her into the icon we know today. Before she became Marilyn, she was Norma Jean Mortensen, a shy, ambitious girl with charm but little polish. Early photos show a beautiful young woman with a somewhat uneven smile and slightly prominent teeth. But once she signed with 20th Century Fox, the transformation began. Allegedly, she underwent subtle but significant cosmetic dental work, likely whitening, slight reshaping, and possibly the addition of veneers to even out her smile and give her that screen-perfect glow. The result? A soft, symmetrical smile that lit up the frame, youthful, playful, but also strikingly deliberate. Her teeth weren't just a feature, they became part of the brand. That over-the-shoulder glance, followed by the slow, innocent grin? Classic Marilyn. Carefully curated. Studio approved. There are whispers that as her fame grew, she became increasingly self-conscious about her appearance, allegedly revisiting dentists and cosmetic specialists to maintain her image. Perfection, after all, was expected. And in Monroe's case, even the smallest imperfection could feel like a threat to her career. Yet, despite the rumors and the reconstructions, her smile remains one of the most beloved in Hollywood history. It was a symbol of innocence, sensuality, and tragedy, all wrapped in one. Monroe didn't just flash her teeth for the camera, she built a legacy with them. James Dean, the eternal rebel, frozen in time, with a scowl that defined a generation and a vulnerability that made him unforgettable. But beneath the brooding looks and whispered charisma was a lesser-known chapter in his carefully shaped image, one that allegedly included some quiet dental upgrades. Before he became the iconic star of Rebel Without a Cause, Dean was just a struggling young actor with dreams bigger than his means. Early headshots reveal a smile that wasn't quite ready for the big screen, slightly uneven, with a youthful awkwardness that didn't match his intense persona. It's rumored that as his star began to rise, studio handlers encouraged him to undergo some dental work, not a dramatic overhaul, but just enough to make his face camera-ready from every angle. Allegedly, this included straightening and whitening, and possibly minor reshaping to give him that clean yet rugged edge. Nothing too flashy, after all. Dean wasn't about glamour. He was about realism, raw emotion, and tortured beauty. His smile had to feel natural, even if it wasn't entirely untouched. What made Dean's alleged dental transformation so effective was how invisible it was. The changes were subtle, just enough to make him photogenic, but not enough to rob him of his edge. His look had to seem effortless, and that illusion, like so many in Hollywood, took careful construction. James Dean may have lived fast and died young, but the legacy of that haunting, half-smile still lingers. It's part of what made him feel real and tragically unreachable. In a town full of polished perfection, his appeal lay in the tension between raw youth and Hollywood refinement. Ava Gardner, the woman Frank Sinatra couldn't resist, the face that graced the golden age with effortless sensuality and a voice as smooth as velvet and bourbon. But even a beauty as legendary as Ava wasn't immune to the pressures of Hollywood's obsession with perfection. Behind those smoldering glances and intoxicating close-ups was a smile that, according to insiders, didn't always fit the studio's vision of flawless. When Gardner was first signed by MGM, she was still rough around the edges, stunning, no doubt, but with a southern drawl and a natural look that needed what the studios called refining. And part of that refinement? Her teeth. It's rumored that Ava had caps or veneers placed early in her career to straighten and brighten her smile. Subtle, but crucial, a transformation designed to take her from small-town girl to screen goddess. Studio execs knew that a single close-up could launch a star or ruin a take, and Ava's beauty had to be pristine. Her smile, while already warm and charming, was shaped into something more symmetrical, more dazzling under the lights. It wasn't about changing who she was, it was about enhancing the image that the world would fall in love with. What's fascinating is how effortlessly she wore the illusion. You'd never guess from her on-screen presence that any part of her look had been touched. But that was Ava's magic. She was natural and calculated at the same time, a storm wrapped in silk. Her alleged dental work may have been quiet, but its impact was loud. It helped craft a woman who wasn't just beautiful, she was unforgettable. Ava Gardner didn't need Hollywood to make her a star, but Hollywood sure knew how to polish one. Judy Garland, a voice that shook the world, a face full of innocence and melancholy, and a Hollywood legend whose life behind the scenes was far from the fairy tales she sang about. But even Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz wasn't safe from the pressures of the studio machine. Beneath the Technicolor magic and that million-dollar smile was a young girl being reshaped, quite literally, to fit the mold of stardom. And that included her teeth. When Judy signed with MGM as a teenager, she was seen as talented but not traditionally beautiful by studio standards. Executives allegedly criticized everything from her weight to her nose, and yes, even her teeth. Reports suggest she was made to wear removable dental caps to straighten and brighten her smile. The goal? To make her more photogenic, to soften her features, and to give her the leading lady look they wanted so badly. But those same caps were said to be uncomfortable and awkward, and Judy, ever the professional, had to perform through the discomfort. Imagine singing Over the Rainbow with a mouthful of studio-mandated corrections. It's the kind of thing that defined her life. Beauty, performance, and pain all rolled into one. As she matured, the pressure didn't let up. Rumors say she underwent additional dental adjustments over the years, always chasing that impossible ideal of perfection. Behind every smile was a reminder she wasn't just acting on screen. She was playing the role of a star, in real life, too. Judy Garland's story is one of brilliance and heartbreak. Her smile lit up the world, but behind it were layers of control, insecurity, and transformation. And in the end, even the smallest details, like her teeth, were part of the burden she carried for fame. Rock Hudson, the tall, dark, and devastatingly handsome leading man of the 1950s. On screen, he was the embodiment of classic American masculinity. Strong jawline, soulful eyes, and a smile that could melt hearts across the globe. But that Hollywood-perfect look didn't come naturally. According to long-standing rumors and biographical accounts, Hudson's transformation from small-town Roy Scherer Jr. into Rock Hudson involved more than a name change. It included a carefully managed makeover, starting with his teeth. Before he became a box-office sensation, Hudson faced a series of studio-mandated image adjustments, and his dental work was reportedly at the top of the list. Insiders allege that he underwent major cosmetic procedures to straighten, cap, and perfect his smile, a process that helped take him from handsome to heartthrob. The result was a gleaming, symmetrical set of teeth that became part of his signature appeal, especially in romantic comedies and dramatic close-ups. But the transition wasn't just about looks, it was about marketability. Studios in that era were crafting their stars like sculptors with clay, and any imperfection, however small, could affect a rising actor's chance at leading man status. For Rock, a flawless smile wasn't just cosmetic, it was career insurance. Ironically, the man who was so carefully designed to represent every woman's dream was living a quiet, very different truth behind the curtain, another layer of illusion that made his Hollywood persona all the more fascinating. His teeth may have been sculpted, but the emotion he brought to the screen was real. Rock Hudson's smile wasn't born, it was built. And in the golden era of movie magic, that kind of construction was the norm. It wasn't deception, it was Hollywood. Rita Hayworth, the original bombshell, the woman whose hair flip could stop time, and the face that turned heads in every theater across America. But behind the seductive allure of Gilda was a story of complete reinvention, one of the most dramatic transformations in all of old Hollywood. And yes, that makeover included her smile. Born Margarita Carmen Cancino, Rita began her career with a striking, exotic beauty that Hollywood at the time didn't quite know how to market. So, the studios took control. Her hairline was famously raised through electrolysis to give her a more traditionally Anglo appearance. Her hair dyed its signature red, and according to Hollywood lore, her teeth were also part of the reshaping. Reports suggest she underwent cosmetic dental work to perfect her smile, likely veneers or caps to brighten, straighten, and harmonize her features. In a time when glamour reigned supreme, every part of her face had to be as close to symmetrical perfection as possible. Her smile needed to exude both innocence and seduction, the perfect contradiction for a 1940 starlet. The result was magnetic. Hayworth's new look skyrocketed her to fame, turning her into one of the most photographed women of the era and a permanent fixture in Hollywood history. But off-screen, she struggled with the image she'd been molded into. In her own words, "Men go to bed with Gilda, but they wake up with me." It's a haunting reminder that even the brightest stars often shine through a filter of pressure and pain. Rita Hayworth's smile, so dazzling, so iconic, wasn't just cosmetic. It was symbolic of the cost of fame and the myth-making machine of Hollywood's golden age. Tony Curtis, the Bronx-born bad boy turned Hollywood golden boy. With matinee idol looks, fast-talking charisma, and a twinkle in his eye, Curtis lit up the screen in films like Some Like It Hot and Spartacus. But like so many stars of the golden age, his on-screen image was no accident. It was carefully sculpted, right down to the teeth. Born Bernard Schwartz, Curtis grew up tough, a product of New York's gritty streets, not Beverly Hills glamour. His early photos show a handsome young man with undeniable charm, but a smile that didn't yet have the polish the studios demanded. When he arrived in Hollywood, Universal Pictures saw potential, but also saw room for refinement. That included straightening and whitening his teeth, and allegedly placing veneers to complete the transformation. His new smile was dazzling, white, symmetrical, and camera-ready from every angle. It quickly became one of his defining features. Whether he was playing a swashbuckler, a con man, or a cross-dressing musician, that smile was always present, smooth, sly, and irresistible. Behind the scenes, Curtis was ambitious. He knew that success in Hollywood wasn't just about talent, it was about image. He leaned into the transformation, working on his voice, his posture, even his name, but his smile? That was the anchor. It made him relatable, boyish, and flirtatious all at once. Tony Curtis may have come from humble beginnings, but he became the very definition of Hollywood polish. His smile, perfected by the studio system, wasn't just about looks, it was his passport to stardom. And even today, it's one of the most memorable grins of the silver screen. Bette Davis, the eyes of Hollywood, the queen of intensity, and a force of nature on screen. Her gaze could pierce through steel, and her performances were nothing short of electric. But while the world was mesmerized by her eyes, the studios were focused on something else entirely, her smile. Davis was never the conventional beauty, and that was part of her power. She didn't rely on soft seduction. She ruled with presence, with raw talent. Still, in the image-conscious world of 1930s and 40s Hollywood, even someone as commanding as Bette Davis wasn't exempt from the studio's fixation on appearance. Rumors from the era suggest she underwent minor dental work, likely whitening and capping, to even out her teeth and match the polished look expected of leading ladies. Her smile wasn't transformed to be dazzling or flirtatious like some of her peers. It was refined, sharpened just enough to fit the close-up without softening her bite. Those who worked with her say she never chased glamour, she commanded respect. Her smile reflected that, strong, strategic, and entirely under her control. Unlike the bombshells of the day, Davis never let her looks define her. But she was smart. She understood that in a world of camera angles and fan magazines, even subtle enhancements could shape perception. So, she leaned into the game just enough, and then rewrote the rules. Bette Davis didn't flash a smile to charm you, she used it to challenge you. And while her dental work may have been modest, it was part of the precise, powerful image she projected. In a town full of sweet grins, hers was a weapon. Elizabeth Taylor. Violet eyes, raven hair, and a beauty so striking it seemed almost unreal. From child star to silver screen goddess, Taylor was one of Hollywood's most enduring icons. But even someone with her natural gifts wasn't immune to the touch-ups of the golden age. Beneath the glamour, behind the flawless close-ups, were the quiet interventions that helped turn her into cinematic royalty, including, according to some reports, subtle dental enhancements. Even as a child actress, Taylor's appearance stood out. But by the time she began transitioning into adult roles, the studios took steps to make sure her image was flawless from every angle. It's alleged that she had cosmetic dental work done early in her career, likely minor reshaping, whitening, or veneers to enhance the symmetry and brightness of her already photogenic smile. The changes were not drastic, and that was the point. Elizabeth Taylor didn't need a transformation, just a final polish. The goal wasn't reinvention but refinement. Every part of her was carefully preserved and elevated for the camera, and her smile was no exception. It became an essential piece of her mystique, glowing in black and white, and even more captivating in full Technicolor. What's remarkable is how natural it all appeared. Taylor had that rare quality where even the most calculated enhancements felt effortless. The elegance, the softness, the regal energy, it all came together in a smile that suggested both strength and sensuality. Elizabeth Taylor's legacy isn't just in her films, it's in the mythic image she carried with grace. Her smile may have been subtly sculpted by Hollywood's finest, but it never felt false. It felt iconic because it was Cary Grant, the gentleman of the silver screen, the man who made sophistication look effortless. With his tailored suits, smooth voice, and razor-sharp wit, Grant was the very definition of charm. But even Hollywood's most polished gentleman wasn't born camera-ready. His transformation from Archibald Leach, a working-class kid from Bristol, England, to Cary Grant involved more than a name change and a new accent. It also allegedly included a discreet bit of dental refinement. Early in his career, long before the world fell for him in films like North by Northwest or To Catch a Thief, Grant was known to have a slightly uneven smile. Though never considered unattractive, his teeth reportedly didn't match the perfection Hollywood demanded from its leading men. As he moved up the studio ranks, it's believed he received cosmetic dental work, likely involving straightening and veneers to smooth out his smile and give it that symmetrical, camera-friendly glow. The result was subtle but powerful. His smile became one of his trademarks, disarming, charming, and perfectly in line with his suave screen persona. It wasn't overly flashy, but it gave him an air of confidence and ease that few could match. What made Cary Grant's image so captivating was that it always felt effortless, even though much of it was, in fact, carefully curated. He knew how to play the game, and he played it with grace. His slightly refined smile wasn't about vanity, it was about building a brand that would endure for generations. And it did. Cary Grant didn't just act the part of the perfect gentleman, he became it. Every smile, every glance, every moment was a masterclass in star power, with just a hint of studio magic behind it. Sophia Loren, the fiery Italian beauty who captivated the world with her smoldering eyes, statuesque figure, and a presence that radiated power and elegance. She didn't just enter a room, she owned it. But even a natural stunner like Loren wasn't entirely untouched by the demands of Hollywood's image-making machine. According to long-standing rumors, her unforgettable smile, so warm, so magnetic, was given a little help along the way. Born Sofia Villani Ciccolone in Rome, Loren's early years were marked by hardship, resilience, and raw beauty. When she first began appearing on screen in Italy, her look was already turning heads, but Hollywood had its own standards. And as her international stardom began to rise, whispers emerged that she underwent cosmetic dental work to subtly refine her smile. It's believed she received minor straightening and veneers to align with the polished, glamorous look expected of leading ladies in the 1950s and 60s. The goal wasn't to erase her European allure, it was to enhance it. The final result preserved the uniqueness of her features while adding just a bit of Hollywood shine. Her smile became one of her greatest weapons, sultry yet sincere, confident yet inviting. Whether playing a passionate lover, a defiant mother, or a comedic vixen, Loren's smile told a story before she ever said a word. And even if there was a bit of dental fine-tuning behind it, what really shined through was her authenticity. Sophia Loren's beauty was never about conformity, it was about commanding presence. And her smile, refined or not, became a symbol of international glamour, feminine strength, and timeless appeal. Jean Harlow, the first true blonde bombshell, the woman who defined sex appeal in the 1930s, and the original platinum goddess of the silver screen. With her icy white hair, slinky gowns, and sultry confidence, Harlow set the standard for generations of stars who came after her. But her transformation into a Hollywood icon didn't happen by accident, and according to rumors from the era, her dazzling smile was part of the studio's carefully orchestrated makeover. Born Harleen Carpenter, Harlow wasn't always the picture of glitz and glam. Early photos show a natural beauty with softer features and a less defined screen presence. When she was discovered and signed to a studio contract, MGM knew they had something special, but also something that needed refining. And so began one of the most legendary Hollywood makeovers of all time. Her teeth, it's rumored, were capped and brightened to match her now famous platinum blonde hair, part of a broader strategy to create a high-contrast, unforgettable look. In the age before professional whitening or digital touch-ups, her sparkling smile became one of her trademarks, helping her stand out in a sea of starlets vying for attention. The result? A smile that could be both seductive and innocent, teasing yet vulnerable. On screen, it played perfectly against her playful delivery and breathy voice, adding another layer to the persona that drove audiences wild. Jean Harlow's rise was a masterclass in early Hollywood branding. Her smile, whether subtly enhanced or strategically engineered, wasn't just about beauty. It was about building a myth. And in doing so, she didn't just break into stardom, she defined it. And there you have it, 14 Golden Age legends with smiles as carefully crafted as their on-screen personas. Behind every dazzling close-up and glamorous grin was a story of pressure, perfection, and a little bit of Hollywood magic. Whether subtle or dramatic, these dental transformations helped shape the icons we still celebrate today. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Which transformation surprised you the most? Do you think the studios went too far, or was it just part of the game? Drop a comment below, and let's talk about it. I read every single one, and yes, I reply to them all. If you enjoyed this trip back through classic Hollywood, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another behind-the-scenes breakdown. More legends, more secrets, more old-school glam coming your way soon. Thanks for watching, and remember, in Hollywood, nothing is ever just a smile.